What's going on? Mitchell Renz here. You're watching NFL Daily by Chat Sports. If you're looking for the latest news and rumors, you're in the right place. But if you love NFL debates, you're going to absolutely love this show. So let's get right on into it. We're talking about Jadeveon Clowney here and the Jets. Well, the report is they are considering running for Clowney. And this is one's from Clayton, John Clayton, that is, who also acknowledges that the Titans, they have some interest in Clowney. The Seahawks, they still have a chance to get him. One thing that you're really seeing here with Jadeveon is, does he want a lot of money? Sure. The asking price, it went from $20 million, now it's to about $17 to $18 million. But for NFL teams, they're a little bit worried going out and getting Clowney because of this whole Big C situation. And for a lot of these NFL organizations, if you're going to invest $17, $18 million in a player that you can't even give an in-house physical to, that makes it kind of tricky. Obviously, Clowney's a very talented player. He went number one overall back in 2014. But if you're telling me right now, what's the biggest reason why Clowney's on the market? I still think it's because of the injury history, because he's asking for too much. And I just showed you the numbers. He's never had a 10-plus sack season. So here at Chat Sports, we are all about the live interaction, and I want you in the comment section down below. So who will sign Jadeveon Clowney? Type J for the Jets, type S for the Seahawks, and if you're going to type O for other, put it in the comments who you think is going to go out and sign Clowney. Let's jump into it now around Amari Cooper, because if you remember, Amari signed a 5-year, $100 million deal, and oh my goodness, did you see what Rex Ryan had to say about Amari signing that? I wouldn't have paid this guy. To me, it's the biggest disappearing act in the National Football League. He doesn't show up on the road. When the competition's good, when he's against the top corners, that guy disappears. He doesn't love football. Hell with it. He stops his routes and does all this. Wow. Those are some serious words laid down there by former coach Rex Ryan. And Rex Ryan, he's always kind of made himself into a person who says what he wants. He definitely did that. So when you look at what Amari Cooper did, though, last year for the Dallas Cowboys, and I think one of the reasons why he was traded away from the Raiders was, well, there were some concerns around Amari and his work ethic. But if you're the Cowboys, you invested $100 million in Amari Cooper. You gave him $60 million guaranteed, and yet you still got this other guy. His name's Dak Prescott. So I'm going to ask you this question. Who would you pay? Amari Cooper, type A, or would you pay Dak Prescott? So I want you to go down there, comment below, who would you pay? Now, I'm going to show you Amari Cooper's stats, but I want to know from you, Amari Cooper, type A, or Dak Prescott, type D. Let's break down Amari's stats, though, in 2019, because it was a tale of two seasons, in my opinion. He had the first 9 games, 53 catches, 848 yards. Dude played well. But then in those last 7 games, only 1 touchdown, 341 yards. And I think this is one of the points Rex was making. However, I think Rex was kind of wrong in the point of what he was making. Amari Cooper was dealing with some serious injuries down the stretch of the season. But he also goes on to mention, Cooper in road games. So why not this? We'll show you some road stats. 27 catches, 320 yards, 3 touchdowns. Are those numbers down? Sure they are. But I also don't know if it's just because of Amari Cooper. I think you could also look at it as because, honestly, the Cowboys, they try to run the football a little bit more on the road. Do I think that here and there that he might take a few plays off? Yes, I've seen the film. I've watched him from the Raiders and on the Cowboys. Is Amari Cooper talented? There is no doubt about that. But Rex, man, he really laid into Amari. So I want you guys to pick a side here. Which side are you on? Are you on Amari Cooper's side, or do you actually agree with what Rex Ryan had to say? This is one of those where I'm going to go after the show. I am going to be in the comments section because I can't wait to see what y'all put. 1 for Amari or 2 for Rex. If you guys are looking for new NFL jerseys, go to chatsports.com/NFL jersey. Hundreds and hundreds of jerseys on sale. Your favorite team, your favorite player. I don't think Rex Ryan's going to be getting an Amari Cooper jersey anytime soon. Maybe you'll want a Josh Jacobs or a Nick Bosa one instead, Rex. Chatsports.com/NFL jersey. But they got Color Rush. All sizes, limited deals. Normally these bad boys are like $100. For a limited time only, though, you can get one of these for under $80. Let's go to another team here, the Chicago Bears. And in the world of quarterbacks, when you have two quarterbacks, I like to think you don't have any. But for Chicago, they're going to keep a quarterback competition open to try to figure out who's going to start between Mitchell Trubisky and Nick Foles. So if you watch the show, you'll know that the Bears went out and traded for Foles for a fourth-round pick. And snaps, they will be split equally, okay? This is the quote from Bears GM Ryan Pace. We've increased competition at a critical position, and we talked to both players, and the way we view this is an open competition. And credit to both those guys for embracing it. I don't really think Mitchell Trubisky had much of an option personally, and I think if you're Nick Foles, you're like, oh, wow, I get another chance. That's great. But if I'm the Bears, and I'm a Bears fan, I don't really know if I have a lot of confidence in either option, if I'm being real. So you can see that Mitchell Trubisky, the completion percentage, it's not $62, it's 62%. Whatever, it happens. 11,000 yards, 71 touchdowns. The win-loss record, though, the one thing that Foles does have on his side at least is 26 wins. That's great and all, but he has a Super Bowl, and he has a Super Bowl MVP. And if I'm a Bears fan, I know that I have a Super Bowl caliber defense. And let's not forget, back in 2018, when I thought the Bears were probably going to be a Super Bowl contending team, they lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, led by who? Nick Foles. So we're going to ask you this question here, okay? More questions here on NFL Daily by Chat Sports. Week 1 starter. Who's it going to be? If you think it's going to be Mitchell Trubisky type T, if you think it's going to be Nick Foles type F, this is something that I guarantee you we're going to be talking about the entire offseason. Heck, we might even be talking on NFL Live, which is always on Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's keep the show rolling here. We got a lot of news, got a lot of rumors. This one's around Jameis Winston going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And NFL executives, they believe that Winston is a fit for Pittsburgh. Honestly, I 100% agree with that statement. Ben Roethlisberger, he is expected to return in 2020, coming off a Tommy John type of injury for you baseball nerds out there. But there was a report that Jameis was looking for $30 million on the open market. Sorry, Jameis, the only 30 you're going to have is probably the interceptions. I think right now when you're looking at the Steelers, they got $7 million in cap space. If Jameis wants to go and sit behind Big Ben, I do think it makes sense because, well, Jameis and Big Ben, they're kind of similar when it comes to quarterbacks. But if you're the Steelers, you can't let what happened last season happen again in 2020 because Mason Rudolph is not the answer, period. I am not a Jameis Winston fan. If you watch the show, you'll know that. I will take Jameis Winston and his 30 interceptions over Mason Rudolph every day of the week because once the Pittsburgh Steelers went out and made that Minkah Fitzpatrick trade, this was a much, much different football team. That's just point blank. And Jameis does give them a better chance to win than Mason Rudolph. Winston is on the market, and so is Cam Newton, which is pretty crazy to me. 2 former number 1 overall picks. Cam Newton does have an MVP award, only played in 2 games last year. But I think right now with the whole Big C situation, that's what's making me type my W here. So who signs first, Jameis Winston or Cam Newton? We're moving on here now to Sammy Watkins on NFL Daily, and he restructured his deal, which honestly, I'm kind of surprised that Sammy ended up doing that. But at the same time, if he wouldn't have done it, he was going to get cut because $21 million for 2020 was just way too much for Watkins. Now he's got a base salary of $9 million, and he can earn incentives up to $16 million. Speaking of those incentives, I got them for you right here. Mike Garofalo, look at these, okay? 8 touchdowns, $750K. 65 catches, $750K. 800 yards plus the playoffs, $750K. If you're Sammy Watkins, you're 26 years old, you played great in the playoffs, I'd be pretty excited about some of these incentives because if there's one thing that the Chiefs do have, it's an absolutely explosive offense. But when I think the biggest reason why the Chiefs did want to bring back Sammy, I mean, yes, he wasn't all that great during the regular season. In the regular season, he had only 671 yards for you fantasy football fans. Most of them came in week 1. Hopefully you played him on FanDuel. But I think when you look at Watkins, he was great in the playoffs, and he was one of the biggest reasons why they did win a Super Bowl. And if you really want to keep your offensive weapons together, I do think Sammy, whether, some people might dislike him or not, Patrick Mahomes, breaking news, has a gigantic arm. And what can Sammy do? Run down the field. You mix that in with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, McCole Hardman, and I know Damian Williams to some of you might not be an offensive weapon, but am I the only one that thinks Damian Williams should have won Super Bowl MVP? I know Mahomes was great and all. I know they came back from 21 down. But come on, Damian Williams should have won Super Bowl MVP. But there is no doubt that the Chiefs have a very talented offense. You got the best player in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. So I think this question is kind of intriguing. Now, I know they have the best odds to become Super Bowl champs again, but I'm genuinely curious what y'all have to say. So will the Chiefs repeat as Super Bowl champs in 2020? I want you to give me a Y for yes or an N for no. Speaking of the Super Bowl, we're just going to fast forward a little bit here. Moving to Super Bowl 2024. If you took a nap, no, you didn't sleep for 4 years. It's all good. There is talks, though, around the NFL moving Super Bowl 2024 out of New Orleans. Why? Well, remember the new rule that dropped with 17-game season? They don't really think they look this far ahead where now Mardi Gras could actually come into play here. And for a Super Bowl that was supposed to take place in New Orleans, it might not happen because, again, when you add an extra game, that adds extra playoff games. You could push back into March where Mardi Gras is. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, luckily, New Orleans, they're not going to lose their bid. They're going to host the Super Bowl. It just might not be in 2024. So let's just say, okay, New Orleans, they lose their bid. Here are 4 other cities that I think actually have the best chance to take over for them because, as we know, Super Bowl 2021 is in LA, then Arizona's in 2022, and then so on and so forth. I think Las Vegas 2024 makes a lot of sense. They're kind of getting ripped off a little bit this year with the NFL draft. Dallas, you got to go big in Dallas. At this time, it'll be like 10 years since the last Super Bowl there. In the ATL, the Georgia Dome, always big events, especially at college football. And then Indianapolis just makes sense because guess what? The scouting combine's there. If you made it to the very end of the video, I appreciate you all very much. Hopefully you tune in when we go live on NFL Daily Monday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.